Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Whoo, whoo. What is up, Dog Pound? This is DonDaBomb, and I am here for a 2025-2026 Cleveland Browns predictions video. Now, last year was the first time for me trying to do this, and man, what a worse year. I couldn't pick a worse year to start doing weekly rant videos. I mean, at least they were true to being rants, because 3-14, Cleveland Browns coming off of a playoff year the year before. What are we doing? You essentially have the same roster, and you go from a playoff team to 3-14. What are we doing? Something's wrong there, but that's what I've come to expect being a Cleveland Browns fan. There's nothing but heartbreak, disappointment, and hard times. Ever since 1999, we were lucky enough to get our franchise back after leaving. That doesn't ever really happen in sports where a team gets the franchise back. And the fans, they voiced their dissatisfaction with the move. We were earned an expansion team. And what have we done with that expansion team in 26 years? What, 3 playoff appearances? 1 playoff victory? 4 or 5 winning seasons? Man, talk about hard times. We're talking about, there are some, people under the age of 30 have no idea what a winning Cleveland Browns team is. I mean, that's the only good thing about me being a little bit older than that. You know, I still remember some of the glory years with the Bernie Kosar. Now, albeit I was maybe, 1 or 2, but they are vivid in my memory. The drive, the fumble, still heartbreaking disappointment. But at least those were better times where Browns put together at least a good team for several years. Anyway, 3-14 last year. There's a lot of people that are probably giving them the same chances this year. And quite frankly, I really don't blame them because, we've had more subtractions than we had additions to the roster. And, well, let's go into what happened in the offseason. So after being 3-14, somehow Kevin Stefanski and general manager Andrew Berry kept their jobs. Well, let's hope that's the right move. I mean, you hate to just keep changing things, and, some of it's their fault. A lot of it's their fault, but a lot of it's on the players too. So Deshaun Watson, what a disaster of a trade this has ended up being. All the assets that we had to give away for him, and I don't know what happened to him. I mean, to me, the guy played better with the special massages, so maybe if we kind of, after he gets back from injury, maybe if you keep it legal, though, bring back those massages and maybe he'll play better. And then we could have that franchise quarterback for the last 1 year of his remaining contract if he's healthy. Anyway, he played like crap last year. So did basically the whole team, minus, Myles Garrett and Jerry Jeudy and a couple other players. But, yeah. So, and then our best player on our team, Myles Garrett, wanted to be traded. What a disaster. What a disaster. He went on every program he could possibly go on, voiced his displeasure with the franchise. But, hey, he stayed. You know why? Because Haslam threw him the money. It's all about the money. So forget about wanting to be on a winning team. He stuck around. And the Browns are lucky that's the case. But he was very, very dissatisfied with the Browns. And once again, I can't blame him for that. I mean, the guy's going to probably be on the back end of his career soon. He probably wants to be on a winner. I just don't foresee this being a winning team anytime soon because it looks like we're going to be going through another rebuilding year. We have you have a 41-year-old quarterback in Joe Flacco that came back. And in the NFL draft, we drafted 2 quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round and then Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. And many predicted Shedeur Sanders was going to be our 2nd overall pick going to us, and he really dropped. So a lot of it, I'm sure, has to do with the Deion Sanders being his son. And just, the kind of that aura that goes around like those type of players. But taking Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round was a real head-scratcher. But where they're going to compete, we'll see how the season goes. They're going to start with Joe Flacco. And right now, we're actually on the eve. We're on the eve of the opening game, which is tomorrow at Brown Stadium, 1 o'clock against the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll see how it goes. But I imagine if Joe Flacco either gets hurt or struggles in the first few games, we'll see Dylan Gabriel and, who knows, Shedeur Sanders, whatever. We even signed Kenny Pickett for a little bit, and then we traded him away to the Raiders, I believe it was, just a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, This is just, I mean, it's kind of a recipe for disaster, but I mean, I think most of us fans that aren't diehard homers, you know, that see the glass half full, sometimes you got to see the glass for what it is. And that's, yeah, kind of almost empty. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know what else. Oh, and we also, you know, drafted 2 running backs, one of them being Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State. And what has happened? Number one, I think he's still on sign right now. And number 2, a month ago, he was under all these allegations for abuse of, you know, not spousal abuse, but domestic violence against his girlfriend. And I guess those charges have been dropped, but he's still unsigned. And he was supposed to be our bell cow running back, you know, our power guy. So, whatever. I don't know. It's just another thing to add on to the many, many problems that this franchise has brought upon us. Frustration all these years. But we'll see. There's a good chance that with his Achilles tear, Deshaun Watson will not be back for this season, but he's been working hard. Yeah, I don't know if I want to see him back. So this looks like a year that could be very, very disappointing, very frustrating, very hard to watch. And we'll see firsthand tomorrow how it's going to begin. I'm not very optimistic. So last year I predicted the Browns to be 10-7. And oh my gosh, how could I forget? After we drafted the 2 running backs, we let Nick Chubb walk. How could I forget that? He's been a pillar of our team along with Miles for years now. And to let him walk and go and sign with Tennessee for, I don't even know what he signed for. I think it was under $5 million. We couldn't sign him just to appease the fans. And as it turns out, if Quinshon Judkins doesn't sign, we could use that guy. I mean, Nick Chubb works as hard as anybody to get into game shape, even after these injuries. Don't count that man down. I wouldn't be surprised if he flourishes in sharing time with Joe Mixon over in Houston. It would be disappointing to see, but you know what? I'm banking on Nick Chubb to be a hell of a player still, and that would be the Browns' loss. And it's just a typical Browns thing. So, like I said, after last year where I predicted us to be 10-7, this year I'm going to predict us to be, and I'm going to say I predict the Browns to finish 5-12. And I know that's a little bit higher than some people even have us, but I'm definitely not an optimist. I'm just hoping that we can get 5 wins. And, you know, if we don't get 5 wins, at least that'll give us a better pick for next year. And because of that trade that we had, trading from the 2nd pick down to the 5th pick, where we picked Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, instead of taking, what the hell's that guy's name? Travis Hunter. I wanted them to pick him, that guy that played wide receiver and cornerback. And we could have used him right now at cornerback and wide receiver, quite frankly, but I'm going to trust in Andrew Berry to get this move right. So at the number 5 pick, we took defensive tackle Mason Graham, who will help bolster that defensive line with Myles Garrett. And that means we have the Jacksonville Jaguars number 1 pick next year, too. So if we suck next year and the Jaguars suck next year, we'll have 2 great first-round picks. But will Andrew Berry be here to screw those picks up? That is the question. Well, we'll see in these 18 weeks what the fuss is all about, but I predict the Factory of Sadness will have nothing but disappointment, heartbreak, hard times. So, the Bomb Squad, if you're not already a member of the Bomb Squad, what are you waiting for? What are you doing? Subscribe, because every week this season, I am going to be posting another miscellaneous Browns rant video. Hopefully it'll be less rants and more positive things, but highly unlikely. So, with that being said, let's go Browns. Woo, woo. Have a good night, everybody. Go Brownies.